I'm sick of this motherfucker, and I'm just so fucking tired of hearing about him. I just wish he would fucking go away. But no, who am I referring to? I'm referring to the former governor of Massachusetts, Deval Patrick, who was an absolute joke, a complete and utter disaster, who completely destroyed Massachusetts for 8 years. And this motherfucker, even after all these years, even after all these years, we had a moderate Republican by the name of Charlie Baker who came in and basically cleaned operations and brought checks and balances to our state, thank God. And this and even after we now have a moderate Democrat by the name of Maura Healey, who's been, mixed at best, but she gave us tax relief after years and years. But what is this guy still doing? Deval Patrick claims he has a dream. He has a dream, but he fails to talk about or to even admit any of his faults. When Massachusetts was in a bad place economically, in a bad place politically, we had the worst tax we had one of the worst tax rates in the country. We had one of the worst business closures, one of the worst mass exoduses of taxpayers. Everything was a complete and utter disaster. But this motherfucker wants to sit here and talk about how he has a dream. Well, let me tell you exactly how I feel about his dream and why I'm going to shit on his dream and explain why I don't give a fuck about his dream, and he can honestly take his dream and stick it up his ass. What's up, everybody? It's Zach the Celtics guy here. Yeah, I'm just going all out. Like, I'm just going all out on this. I'm not gonna I'm so sick of this motherfucker. I'm so sick of these politicians that sit there and are they just these politics as usual. These people that think that they want to raise multiple taxes, and then they want to sit there and think that and it kills the middle class. It destroys our business climate. It destroys our economy. It destroys everything. It destroys the fabric of everything. And and these politicians have no common sense. They have no checks. They have nothing. So why is Deval Patrick over here trying to act like, oh, he has a dream. He has a dream. Well, we weren't thinking about his dream during his 8 years of failed leadership, during his 8 years of being a loser. I do not care about his dream. All that we cared about was the fact that we were on the receiving end of over 20 taxes in a row. That's that. I want to talk about the fact that this man we were basically the California of New England with this guy in office. This man raised multiple taxes in a row, drove jobs and drove businesses out of our state in record numbers. 24,000 jobs were lost just in the year 2010 alone because so many people went elsewhere. But this guy wants to sit there and accuse people like Charlie Baker and Larry Hogan they want to give tax cuts to the biggest corporations and everything. No, that's what you're doing. No, that's what you did. No, that's what you did. So I don't want to sit here and hear about your so-called dream. I don't want to sit here and hear about your so-called plan or your so-called whatever. I don't care about your plan. And you're still over there. You're still over here trying to act like you're so great, and you just want to sit here and act like you're so great and everything, and how you have a dream. You did nothing wrong. Oh, except for you did the people of Massachusetts wrong. You did me wrong. You did everybody in the state wrong from one end of the state to the other. You did us completely wrong. You want to talk about those job giveaways and those corporate giveaways? Well, why don't we want to talk about that? Why don't we want to talk about some of all of the jobs that you gave away, all of the jobs that gave away that ended up fleeing to New Hampshire, that ended up fleeing to Rhode Island, that ended up fleeing to Vermont, because Massachusetts taxpayers were suffering under you and you were killing us. That's what you were doing. So what exactly? His record is completely unacceptable. His record as a governor was horrific. This man is the worst governor in the history of this state, raised taxes more than anybody in history. He increased sales tax, cigarette tax, the gas tax. He tried to implement a gas tax that would go up with inflation, but voters repeal that. And I voted against that because this was my first year of ever voting. And I voted to repeal that. I was one of the 52% of people that voted to repeal his gas tax increase. If this man had his way, if this man had his way, and we had a gas tax that went up every year with inflation, our gas prices would look like California. Our gas prices would look like Oregon or Washington State or something. Our gas prices would have been so crushing and so horrific for the middle class and people like myself that just go to and from work that I don't even know where our state would have headed. I don't even know where our state would have headed. Our state would have been plunged into some kind of uncertain future. It would have just been a complete and utter disaster. It would have just been a complete and utter disaster. And it would have just been the most horrific thing. So I'm sick and tired of this man. I'm sick and tired of him talking about how great he is, how he has a dream, and how he wants to talk about all these things. Well, if you claim that you had a dream, if you have a dream today, you didn't have a dream then. Why don't you have a dream about actually governing in a responsible manner, bringing checks and balances to our government? Why you didn't have a dream? Why didn't you have a dream about welcoming businesses and communities into Massachusetts? Why didn't you welcome that? Why didn't you act like a responsible person and balance our budget, balance our economy, and bring jobs to us, and bring jobs to our state when we've had destroyed jobs, destroyed businesses, record spending, record tax increases, record corruption, bad government, and the worst governorship and worst tax rates in history. This man brought our economy to the brink of collapse. Our economy was a borderline recession. He brought our economy to the brink of almost a collapse. Like our economy was so stagnant, and we had little to no economic growth. I think only like three other states raised taxes as much as this man did. We had the worst tax exodus of people fleeing our state of any state in the New England region, and one of the worst in the country with this man. You know what happened with this man? 50,000 Massachusetts residents left, taking with them billions of dollars and taking their businesses and their jobs elsewhere. And taking them, and they all went to New Hampshire. They all went to Rhode Island. They all went to Vermont. They went to Pennsylvania. They went to more business-friendly places because our business climate was a disaster. Our business climate was in decay. It was in free fall because there were so many taxes that were up to people's eyeballs, and it was costing businesses so much money that they couldn't even have confidence in running a business, starting a business, and being a small entrepreneur. Young people filling jobs and becoming entrepreneurs. We couldn't have something like that because these taxes were destroying us. They were killing us. But this man has a dream. What about the dream of all the people that lost their jobs? What about this one where the failed Obamacare rollout? What about that one? The people that lost their health care coverage under this man. We had a failed rollout of the Affordable Care Act, where this man wasted over $100 million on a failed rollout of the Obamacare, which is quite frankly a joke. Like, oh, you couldn't have with all that money, with all those taxes and everything, you couldn't have even have implemented single payer health care. You couldn't have even have done that. You could have given single payer health care to our state 50 times over, probably, with the amount of taxes that you had. And yes, I am for universal health care. Guys, you know my position. And yes, I am economically liberal. Yes, I am to the left of Democrats. But here's the thing, though. When it comes to taxes, things have to be done responsibly. Nothing was done responsibly. Deval Patrick's tax rates, Deval Patrick's business record, Deval Patrick's entire lack of leadership, his entire way of doing things for Massachusetts, the entire way of him doing everything was just simply not acceptable. Was simply not acceptable. It was outrageous. His tax policies were horrific. They crushed us. Sales tax, record high sales tax, raising taxes on. Okay, let's go through the numbers. He signed into law increases in sales tax, cigarette tax, gas tax. The cigarette tax that was increased by $1 per pack. Oh, Deval Patrick, who is he and what does he stand for? Let's see, what does he stand for? He stands for corruption, cronyism, corporatism, record tax increases, record spending, and bad government. That's what he represents, and he's a fucking piece of shit. Higher taxes on cigarettes and corporations. Yes, higher taxes on corporations. That drove most of the businesses out of our state. That drove 24,000 jobs out of our state. He signed into law increases and said, oh yeah, I already read that part. A large income tax that went from 5.25% to 6.25%. The plan would have reduced the sales tax, but it would have been a large tax increase overall. Luckily for Massachusetts taxpayers, the plan did not pass. Yeah, thank God it didn't. And then he proposed higher taxes on corporations and applying the sales tax to candy and soda. Okay. There's nothing wrong with making corporations and the rich pay their fair share. I have no question about that. I don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem with is when you drive businesses out of the state. That's what I have an issue with. When your policies are no longer progressive. This type of tax record is not progressive. This is regressive. Every single one of these taxes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If you look at the total record, it's about 20, it's about 24, 25, 26. I counted the numbers. It was up to somewhere around there. It was in the 20s. When you raise 20 plus taxes in a row, and you take almost $10 billion out of our struggling economy, and when you take that money out of people's pockets and it doesn't go to anything, then why would people even feel the need? Like, why would they even want to live here? Why would people even want to live here? That was what most people asked. That was the question that most people asked. So don't sit there and tell me that you have a plan, that you believe in anything. No, your only belief is record taxes, higher spending, corruption, cronyism, and you just think that as governor, I have no checks and balances on my power. I can do anything I want. I can abuse my authority and just raise taxes like no tomorrow. You can't raise taxes the way this man did. It's just not okay. And what Charlie Baker had to deal with, he had to do everything he could to try to roll these taxes back. He was successful in some areas, in other ways, not so much. The only one who really got our taxes lowered in some areas was Maura Healey, the current governor. For that long overdue tax relief that Democrats on Beacon Hill, our government in Massachusetts is named Beacon Hill because it's Beacon Hill in Boston. But anyway, when you, with this whole, with this entire thing, there had to be some kind of tax relief, like after all these years, and with them not working with Baker being the victim of Democrat obstruction, something had to give, something had to be done. So they finally managed to get something out the door, and a reduction of the corporate. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, but then it was raised again, and then he raised other taxes. Then he raised other taxes in this area. Fuck you! I fucking hate this man. Why do I hate this man? Oh, Zach, why do you hate this man so much? Why do you hate this man? I hate this man because this man destroyed my state, or at least he caused our economy to be on the brink of collapse. Massachusetts' economy was one of the worst in the entire country. Why would I respect a man that destroyed a place that I love, a place that I've been born and raised in my whole life? And this man just made life a living hell. He made life in Massachusetts a living hell for taxpayers. He made life for taxpayers hell. He made our tax climate a joke. He made our business climate a complete joke. Businesses, every business that came here or had businesses in different states said it's such a difference between the business climate in Rhode Island. Like there's such a difference between over the South Shoreline over in Rhode Island, or the one in New Hampshire, or in Vermont or in Maine, where all our businesses ended up going, or at least a majority of our businesses ended up going because they were all leaving our state in droves, and people were leaving in droves, and people aren't going to stand for it. You wasted $100 million on a failed rollout of the Obamacare when you could have went for a single payer plan with all that money. But no, you just decided to go with a failed rollout of the Obamacare Act, of the Obamacare, well, the Affordable Care Act, which was Obamacare, which wasn't anything. It was just a Republican health care plan that the former governor that was in office in this state, Mitt Romney, when Mitt Romney was in here, Mitt Romney is the one that gave us that. But then he tried to do that, he tried to push it, and then more than $100 million was wasted. We probably had the worst rollout of the Obamacare Act of any state in the country. I think only Maryland was worse when Martin O'Malley did it. And Martin O'Malley, if you think Deval Patrick was bad, take a look at Martin O'Malley's record. Martin O'Malley's record was 40 tax increases, and their economy being so bad that it ranked 49th out of 50 states. Oh, and you want to know something? So, Deval Patrick, Chicago is Deval Patrick. Hey, if he runs your state into the ground because he thinks that he wants to raise your taxes, well then, good luck to you. No, obviously not that he has the power anymore, thank God, because Deval Patrick destroys everything he touches. Wherever Deval Patrick goes, there will be destruction. Just remember that. Don't trust him with your money. He will waste your money. He will destroy your money. He will destroy everything. Deval Patrick will destroy everything. So no, I have every right to hate this man. I have every right to hold this man in contempt. I have every right to hold this man in contempt. I have every right to hold this man in contempt because this man destroyed my state. This man destroyed my state. This is what he did. We had destroyed jobs, destroyed businesses, record high spending, record high tax increases, empty promises, broken promises, bad government, an economy that's a borderline depression, one of the worst business climates in the whole country. Businesses leaving, jobs leaving, people leaving, taxing people to death, killing people with your tax increases, destroying people's lives, quite frankly. Deval Patrick's tax policies, quite frankly, destroyed lives, destroyed jobs, destroyed businesses, destroyed entourage, destroyed everything. He destroyed our state, is what he did. And his record was unacceptable. This is simply unacceptable. It is irresponsible. His behavior in office was unacceptable. It was irresponsible. He made our state to be one of the biggest jokes in New England and one of the biggest jokes in the country. I have nothing but contempt for this man. And if this man, and if you had someone, if you have a shitty leader in your state, look no further. This is what he did for 8 years. This is what he did for 8 years. And if it wasn't for some moderate Republican like Baker to come in, or if it wasn't for like someone like that, I mean, if Martha Coakley, the Attorney General, who also had her record of corruption as well, who was taking corporate giveaways, and she had a plan to raise the gas tax up with inflation, I think that would have killed our economy. I think our economy would have just went into a recession. Everything. I couldn't even imagine what this would be like. But everyone was saying, during this time, because during this time, there was the debates in Maryland, there was the debates in Massachusetts, and a moderate Republican won in both states. Baker won here, Larry Hogan won in Maryland. And quite frankly, Larry Hogan had a bigger mess to clean up he had a worse mess to clean up than Deval Patrick. than Charlie Baker had to clean up Deval Patrick's mess. Trust me, if I was a Marylander, I'd be saying the same things about Martin O'Malley. I mean, obviously I hate Martin O'Malley. I think his record was disgusting. It was even worse than Deval Patrick. But I can't really speak for that because I don't live in Maryland. But it's just, this whole thing is irresponsible. This is irresponsible government. This is the problem with so many areas in this country. This is the problem with our country. It's like we pay so much in taxes, but we don't get anything in return. With all this money, we could get all this type of thing. Instead, you wasted $100 million on corporate giveaways and giving it into big oil. That's where it goes. This is where it's all going. It isn't going to fund universal health care or tuition-free education, paid vacation time. It's not going to any of those things. It certainly didn't go to it to here, even though this man raised taxes 25 times in a row. But yeah, Deval Patrick has a new position. Just don't trust him with your money, because we will never trust him with our money. Thank God he'll never be in office again. Thank God. Thank God. Anybody like him, don't ever vote for them. Don't ever vote for them. Because these people want to raise your taxes and they want to act like that's socialism. It's people like this that make leftism look bad. It's people like this, because this isn't even real leftism. This isn't even leftism. What this is just courtocracy. This isn't even progressivism. This isn't even progressive. This is regressive. This is irresponsible. This is a bad record across the board. This is a bad record across the board. Nothing is good about it. What is good about it? What did we get in return? And I'm so sick and tired of having to go back to this topic of conversation about the fucking gas tax. Okay? Stop sitting there and saying that, oh, the gas tax hasn't been raised in so long, therefore it's that's causing the issue. Here's the problem. If you raise the gas tax, that's just going to make gas prices go up even more. That's number one. Number two, we're talking about billions and billions of dollars in new spending. We already have a gas tax. If you get big oil out of there, you wouldn't need to talk about this. It's like you've got this, you've got spending, you've got big oil. Where does all the money go? The money goes to big spending. Money that is raised through the gas tax is supposed to go towards our roads and bridges and towards, fixing potholes, fixing rough edges, fixing rough roads and everything that are such a problem in this fucking country. Is a problem in this state as well as a problem in fucking every state. But money that is raised through the gas tax, the gas tax, stop sitting there saying that, we don't have enough money. Because the money is just, it just goes into like a vortex. It just goes into a vortex where it just disappears. This is where it goes. It goes into big oil, and then it just disappears. And then you say you don't have the money to fix it. When you're talking about when it either goes to privatized fancy lanes for rich people, it goes towards things like that. It goes to corporate projects, mass transit projects, instead of building roads. That was the problem. With all the money that Deval Patrick raised, he wanted to raise the gas tax with inflation, when he could have fixed every single road, bridge, and interstate in this whole country, in this whole state. But no, decided to do that, and then decided to cut, and then decided to cut money to local aid by up to 87%. Cut the highway revenue by up to 87%, and then cut local aid, and then that money in Massachusetts, our roads ended up suffering through the harsh winters, through the congestion of how it is in Boston, and then our roads ended up suffering, and then our roads ended up getting delayed for being fixed for years and years. And that hasn't been just a problem here. That was a problem in many different places. I would say you wouldn't need to raise the gas tax anymore. You would never need to raise it ever again if you used the money every time someone pays money to get gas, you're essentially your money that you pay 30 for regular for whatever, let's just say. You know how under the gas prices it always says all taxes included, includes all taxes. All that money, that 18 cents of every time you pay for gas, is going into the gas tax. It's going into a trust fund that's supposed to go towards fixing roads. It's supposed to go towards like things like snow removal. Well, I mean that's more like property taxes, things like that. But then where's the money going? Again, this is wasteful spending. This is wasteful spending 101. This is irresponsible spending. This is what I have to say with regards to not just Deval Patrick. I mean, every fucking politician's guilty of doing this. If you didn't drain billions and billions of dollars out of the trust fund and you didn't have big oil involved in fucking everything, then there wouldn't need to be billions and billions of dollars in new spending and in new tax increases with the gas tax. That's the difference. I want an equitable society. I'm a leftist. We all know who I am. But the thing is, there needs to be checks and balances. There needs to be checks and balances on where the money's going. The money needs to go towards roads, schools, bridges. It needs to go towards our healthcare system. It needs to go towards all that. And it needs to go towards all those different things. And when it doesn't, everything suffers. And that's what happened. And then taxes end up then taxes just feel like nothing. Then it actually does feel like it's actual theft. I look around and I see things and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. Taxation is theft, but it's only theft when the money is used irresponsibly. If the money was used for good things, then it wouldn't be. The thing is, if things got better and the money was used towards things that it's actually intended for, then there wouldn't need to be billions and billions of dollars in new taxes. That's the difference. That's what makes all the difference in the world. That's my economic view. My economic view is the money has to go towards the things that make sense to make society better, to create a more equitable society. But then there also has to be tax relief for low-income families. There needs to be more public housing for low-income families. There needs to be more rental assistance programs. There needs to be things to help people pay their rent, things that need to help people out and things like that. The record taxes, that doesn't do shit. All that does is that just makes things worse for the middle class. The gas tax makes things worse for the middle class. It's a gimmick for the oil companies. All these things are gimmicks. And under an actual progressive tax, what that I support would be going towards roads, county, municipal roads, interstate, whatever. Just all that stuff. Just the stuff that would make us a more equitable society and an affordable society. And people get to keep their money, and then people get tax relief. And then people should get tax relief. And then you get money back in taxes. That's how it should go. That would make our society so much more affordable, so much more equitable, so much more everything. But you're not going to have an equitable society with someone like this. That's my dream. What's Deval Patrick's dream? Deval Patrick's dream was Massachusetts' nightmare. Because living under him was a nightmare. We were in a bad place economically, politically, diplomatically, everything. Record taxes, record spending, corruption, waste, fraud, and abuse, a disaster, an economy on the border of collapse, the worst healthcare reform rollout of any state in the country, the worst business exodus. We had thousands of people going elsewhere, going somewhere else. That was Deval Patrick's record. Never forget. I will never forget. Fuck Deval Patrick. Fuck everything about him. Fuck his. I don't care. I will say this. I don't care. I hate politicians, but I especially hate people like him. I hate people who destroy people's ways of life, and then they sit there and act like they have a dream, they have this, they have that. I got a plan for the future, and want to try to talk a big game, try to talk like they act like they know everything, and try to act like, oh, they're gonna make things better. I have a dream. I have a dream, even though my dream was a nightmare for people in Massachusetts. And we're still dealing with some of his taxes, unfortunately. Yes, while we did get long overdue tax relief, there's still a lot more room for improvement. We need real tax reform. We need to roll back the sales tax to and the income tax and all that to reasonable numbers. Make it like 3%. 3% each. That would make sense in my book. Never again with someone like him. Deval Patrick's dream. I spent 30 minutes ripping it apart, ripping him apart, ripping apart his record, and shitting on his dream. I don't care what his dream is, because his dream was our nightmare. Fuck you, Deval Patrick. Fuck your dream. Fuck your family. Fuck you and everybody that supports you and everything. Fuck you for what you did to my state. Never again with someone like you. Never again. And also, say never again to, to Biden. For needs to be the year we get him out of office. Just like 2014 was the year we got this guy out of office. But that's a topic for another day. Fuck Deval Patrick, and I will shit on his dream so long as I'm alive, breathing air. And that's what I will do with the majority of politicians. Fuck them. Well, anyway, that's about it for now. So, like I said, couldn't really scream like a lunatic, but because it's 1:48 in the morning and my boyfriend's sleeping, so I had to be a little more reasonable with regards to the noise level. But you guys all know how that goes. But anyway, thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this. Hope you all learned something. And I'm just sick and tired of Deval Patrick talking. Wish he would just shut the fuck up and go away. But whatever, that's okay. I mean, but that's fine. Every time he comes and goes, every time he comes along and he tries to make himself well known, like the herpes and the cancer that he is, and the loser that he is, and the failure that he is, I will just come on here and rip him apart, rip apart his record, and say fuck him and fuck everything about him. That's what I'm gonna do, and I will do that every step of the way. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and I will be back. It is 1:49 a.m. So anyway, I'm going to cut it here. Stay tuned for my live stream tonight at 7 p.m. Definitely got a lot more to talk about. Look out for that, and a whole bunch of other stuff in the works. Stay tuned. Until then, and until my next video, until my next stream. See you all tonight. Stay well, stay classy, keep fighting, and keep on rocking. Until next time, take care of yourselves and all of each other, and I will see you all tonight in my next stream, and I'll see you in my next video. Good night, peace out, and so long.